is ours, designed to support the Memory Book Online Yearbook program. Our goals today will be to introduce participants to the function of the program associated with the beginning stages of yearbook creation. Specifically, we will be reviewing logging into the program, familiarization with the welcome screen and page ladder, font selection, creating a photo share site, and we're going to go over how to, or basically transferring material. If you had any material in your previous book, how to get that into the current book, and then leading into the next installment, the importance of getting your class photos to us, like a link from your photographer or that. So right here where I'm at, I'm just at our home screen of MemoryBook, just our memorybook.com, just our company site here. At the very top, we have a link for MemoryBook Online. So just get right there. I'll bring you right to the access page. Another way to get here is there is this URL that's here. One that we generally kind of put in some material is just www.memoryebooks with an S, so ebooks.com, and it then basically redirects to this page. So a couple different ways just to get to our site. So either from our company homepage, just go up here. Any links from your reps, from your advisor center email, or if you just go to memoryebooks.com. So we're defaulting in the year of 2025. This is what everyone should be kind of under this year. From here, you're going to enter in, basically this is going to be the information that your sales rep sends in to you. We'll put in our job number. We'll then put in our username, and in many cases it will be advisor, and then whatever the password was that was given to you by your rep. Below here, and we're going to come back, before we get to go inside, there is a forgot your password link that is here. Basically, if you have your staff login set up, which we'll show that here once we get inside, this is what anyone could use. And basically, it'll send an email back to that person so they can reset their password. So after we get our information in, let's go. And it's going to drop us here on our home screen here. So it just gives you a basic, a little bit of some at a glance here. So it starts off with the due date countdown. Mine's set very large because I just set it out way to the end of seasons, but yours will look much different here. At a glance, status of your pages. So when first coming into the book, you're instantly going to see, how many pages you haven't started on. That will be in red. Anything that you have in progress is in yellow. Anything that you have completed. So completed is not like a submitted, but it's basically it's a locked from further editing point. And then submitted is any pages turned into us. Some other things you will be coming when you see in here, upcoming events. Some of the dates that you may see in here put in by our reps would be, when you need to get your cover in, when best time to get your portrait CD in or your class photos, and also just when your book should be submitted. We go on tagged images for tagging, or if those that want to keep track or set up an index. This just kind of lets you know that how many of your images are tagged. And there's just a little bit of a breakdown of what has been uploaded to your book. Usually certain numbers here and that will be just because we've uploaded your class photos for you there. All right, and so here is pretty much, you probably won't spend too much time here on this screen when you first come in. So the first place we're going to go is actually your main navigation, where we're going to start off. We're going to go under Plan, and we're going to go to Page Ladder. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do, so I'm going to go under Plan, and I'm going to go to Staff. All right, because we'll need these staff logins to kind of do a little more back on the page ladder, do some planning. Um, so whenever your account has been set up, you are given, or you start with two default logins. You start with an advisor login and a staff login. Your advisor login, that is your all access, all privilege login. So if you are the um, depending on what your yearbook team is like, if you are the sole member of your team, you'll probably only want to use the advisor login. That way you have access to everything going through. If you are an advisor that has a yearbook staff, you'll probably want to keep that advisor to you for you. And then if they are student staff, then you'd probably set them up a generic staff login. Now the staff login, it's lower in privileges. So what the staff logins can do, the staff logins can still go in and upload images to folders that the advisor has set up. The staff can also go in and put templates on pages and build pages and do all the things that you need them to do. The things that they don't have access to is to delete images out of the program. Staff cannot unlock pages. So a staff person can lock a page or complete a page, but then it will be on the advisor to unlock it for them if they need it back for anything. So here, just when you come into the staff area, your top one here, you'll say like first, last. There's not much you can do really with this this default advisor login, except for come in here and I can put my name to it here. My name's you can add your name to it. You're not able to change the username once it's set up. Um, you can change your password. That is here if you want to update the password from what we set you to. The email spot on a login, it's optional, but what these are used for is the forgot my password link that's on the login screen. So when you get to setting up your students, and I'm just going to set up a new student here. I've been their first and last name. Now, when it comes to a username, um, this could be anything uniquely to them. So a lot of people will either do a combination of first name, last name, or any kind. Maybe they have a nickname or something like that. So we use first name and last initial because I have another here. Now, when setting up staff logins, so if you have a team of 5 or 6, when you set them up a login, you'll have to give each one a different username, so their own unique username. But to keep things simple on yourself, as the advisor, you are able to set them up with the same password. So that way you can keep one thing kind of easier for yourself, but each one will need their own username. Now, students, a lot of times students don't have email addresses or a student email address or something from the school. That's why this is optional. If they have it, it's fine to put it in. But this is used for the forgot my password link. So what we have seen some advisors do, as opposed to having a student address in, they will put in, the teacher will put their address in case that password request comes, the teacher can help the student reset their login. So it's totally up to you on how you want to handle that, but that's what this is for. And down here, once we get name and all this information, I'll come here and choose a role, and I'm just going to make this person staff. So now I've got some staff logins created. Now, depending on your yearbook team or your dynamics, say you're at a school in your situation, you're 2 co-chairs, or maybe whoever has given you, okay, it's this teacher and this teacher, or this person, or a couple of people on the PTO. Let's say you have co-chairs running this. you are able to set up another, you could go under here and set up another advisor role login. That way both of you have the same privileges going through, and you're not, one's not blocked out of doing something that, they need to in order to finish or build the yearbook. But here's staff logins, just so you can do advisor, you can do staff. You can also do set up an editor. An editor is kind of, it's, the privileges are really, they're more or less a staff person with a few extra privileges. Um, Whereas staff cannot create folders under the image library, an editor can set up those. So depending on what your yearbook team is like, if maybe you have one person in your team that is catching on, or you could tell is knows the program a little bit better, or maybe this particular student helps out more or helps the other members on the team more, you might think about giving them an editor role, just if they kind of meet that criteria. But just like I said, they can create folders. They still can't unlock pages or anything like that. So it's just a staff with a little more. All right. So now that we have our staff login set up, now we're good to go to the page ladder. And the page ladder is really, this is where you're going to do a lot of your planning of your pages, and you can also access your pages from this very spot. Kind of going back to the color key that was in the front, any pages that were not started, they have the red bottom outline here. In progress, there's something you're working on, will be in yellow, and something that you have created or completed already will be in green. Now, once your pages are submitted, the last status color is black here, but we're not at a point in our series here to kind of show submitted pages here, but we will get there. Now, one of the first things you might do if you're a brand new for memory book, you'll basically just be coming in and jumping in and get started, putting templates on pages and that. If you are a returning customer, um, or maybe you're a new advisor, you're a returning customer as a school, but new advisor. One thing we do have is the start with last year. So what start with last year does when I click this, so basically it'll ask you a few things. Do you want page designs to come over? So what this will do is it'll copy last year's book. It'll bring over the layouts in template form and fill them into your current pages. So if you're an advisor that's been doing this a while and you kind of been keeping about the same look year to year, this is definitely recommended. If you are a brand new advisor and you're just looking to get just a little bit of you know, you need a little bit of a starting to help you get going, this is a good way to kind of, load in what was last year and then kind of build upon that from there. Um, Also new this year coming in, they've added to where you could bring in this section and topics. So these were kind of how you had your pages labeled. So this now brings in this information. So we'll go ahead. Now you could choose if you do or don't want them, but if you're keeping about the same flow of the book from previous years, it's good to go ahead and load it. One thing just to keep in mind, none of this, what you're loading here, is anything set in stone. So like once I hit continue, it's going to ask me if I'm sure, and you can't undo this action. So basically it's once I do this, there's no undo. As far as a button just to clear it back out, but it can be changed. So I'm going to hit continue. Okay. And so last year, I don't think I had many of the sections in that set up, but what this did do was it brought over my layouts that I had created in my previous account, and it brought them back in template form here. Um, I tell you what, I got just a little farther away before I saw this one comment here over in the chat. Kind of going back with staff and staff logins. How many students can be added as staff? So I think that's a good question on like how big can your team be? Um, I mean, as pretty much as many kids. I mean, I have seen. I don't know if there is a limit, to tell you honestly. I really don't see many teams come in that are bigger than 10, but I have seen a few come in and just I saw a yearbook class that had 30 people in his staff. So, and that's one of the biggest I've ever seen. But um, I really don't know if there is a limit. But if you do have a pretty big staff, especially if it's around 30, that you should be able to add them all. So I hope it's a good question. I'm glad that was put out there. All right. So we did the start with last year. We've loaded our designs. They come in template form. Now, anything that did come in here, like I said, it's not anything that is set in stone. So what I did there is if you click on a page in the page letter, it takes you to that page in the designer. So this is what was loaded in. If I wanted to highlight this all and clear it out because I didn't want it, I could easily do, like I said, just because it loads in from last year doesn't mean that you have to keep it. It's just a good starting step for there. I'm going to go back to the page ladder. That's fine. I'm going to leave. All right. So we've got our pages loaded, started with last year, but now we kind of want to plan some things out. So this is where we're going to start talking about sections and topics. So over on the left, you're going to see you got sections, topics, and staff. And then there's this tab. This tab is something that it's actually not functionable for us. Is something that they're taking out. But I just because it's seen, I just want to go ahead and address it that while this would be nice, it's not a feature that we're going to be keeping or have. Sections. So when it comes to sections, these are the main big sections of your yearbook that you have. Maybe you have candid pages or class pages, or these are your school events. Um, so any of this, you can come in here and you can start type. You can start to type something. Um, Now, if you kind of start backspace, it does kind of start to um, generate some options for sections for you. So if you want divider, opening, closing, specialty, stuff like this. Now, if anything here in our list doesn't kind of play to how 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 your sections are set up, you can type in your own section here and hit the little plus and add it. So then you got your own little section that comes in here. So I say you start gives you some pre-made options. You can do your others there. Now to apply these sections, once you have them, uh, you just find your section and bring it over top of the page. Oh, it's a lock. I'm going to undo it. There we go. So now it updates to my own section. So I can bring faculty over here. Now, in the event that you bring a section over and be like, oh, I grabbed the wrong one, what do I do? You could just drag, you could do one or two things. You could bring it back over, or now that this is actually has something in it, you could actually click this and change it back to, one of the other sections you wanted it to be. Now within those sections, that comes down to the next thing is topics. So it's further kind of breaking it down of what you have. So within class pages, maybe you have candid or specific grades like fifth grade or anything like that, broken down. Maybe if one of your sections was candids, maybe you had different like clubs or, what those different club names were. Um, so there's my topics. So it's anything that again, if you start typing in here, it will just give you tons and tons and tons. Um, Even if you come over here, you can click over to smart topics and see all the different topics that are already here. If you're not finding something that is just not part of your school, or if it's not maybe kind of in the way that you want it, you can type it in. And so there was a numbered fifth grade, but if I hit that one, I can actually add it in. Maybe I want it to look like that. And the same with the sections here. Um, you just bring the sections over to add them to the pages. And you'll see it's got candidates and fun. Now, when bringing over your topics to label pages, um, if you bring it over one page, you see it kind of highlights it around there, so you'll know it's applying to that page. If you bring it more over to the right, it'll apply just to this page. If you hover it in the middle, it's going to apply that topic to both pages there of your spread. And if you need to change anything or remove any of the sections or topics, you can always, there's a little X here to take the topics off those pages. So definitely it's planning out, doing some sections and topics really does keep the flow of things in order. Um, Also kind of helps the building process. That way you make sure everything's allotted for, helps you and your team kind of stay on track. And visibly, when you get in here, what purpose you've made that page. So you get in here and say, okay, I see this is faculty page, but it's the faculty fun page, candid photos of the fun faculty or stuff, or fun student page, or wacky hair day, or anything like that. So if you've got a topic, you've got an event going on at your school, definitely get it in there, drop it in. That way you know exactly where you want that topic to be. So someone said, what if we wanted to do a section for principal and AP? That again, that'd be just when you're doing your sections. If it, I don't even know if the AP is in here, but no, but you could do AP and just hit add and then drop that onto the sections you have there. All right, so here's our page ladder. So again, you can access pages. This is where you're going to do your planning, sorting them out. There's a preview here. Now, as you save your progress, these previews update, so that way you're also able to easily recognize and get onto a page and kind of see what you still have left to do and what you still need to do. Let's see. Oh, now once we're done that, another thing, if you did have students working on the book or students helping you, this is where you can assign pages or assign them pages. So if you take your staff logins and bring them over, it'll then apply a staff member to that page. When it comes to assigned pages, the advisor on the job, they have access to everything. Whether it's assigned to a student, you're the advisor, you're able to go on and make changes where you see fit. With the staff logins and then being assigned, plays to where this student here, being assigned to the page, is the only one that is able to, as far as amongst all the staff, is the only one that's able to edit the page. Same goes for this side. Only this student is able to edit this page. Now, even with the pages assigned, everybody that has a login can see the other pages. However, if you're not assigned to that page, you're just not able to edit it. Also, if pages are marked where they say no staff, these pages, being that they're not assigned, they are open to anybody that's working on the book. So if you if you have pages like that to where you really want to make sure that students are working on particular pages and not random ones here and there, go through with your staff logins and set them up on pages there. Um, the ease of mind here is with your pages all assigned, um, ease of mind between the other students, and that no one's going to be interfering with anybody else's work. Ideally, they can see it, they can comment it, they can be, hey, you're doing good on this, or oh, I think this needs to be, but that other person won't be able to go in and touch that person's stuff. So that's one of the good things about assigning pages. Another thing is also the advisor can then go into the history and kind of say progress, who did what, who's working on what, um, and also just kind of help them. Okay, I know that this student is working on two, and what pages they are, and it's just some will use it as a class to where the students get graded. But again, this is good for yearbook teams and that going through. And again, if you're the lone person that's working on this, then that you won't need to assign yourself some pages. You can just work on the book going through there. All right, so there we have the ladder. So going through from here, I'm going to go back under plan. We're going to go down to fonts. All right, so fonts in our book. Ideally, when going through the book, we typically say recommend about selecting about 20 fonts, and that's just for look of consistency, or if you're trying to keep a clean, consistent look, or sometimes maybe 4 or 5 fonts if you're really wanting, I want this as a headline, this is subheadline, and then body going through. But that's just a recommendation. If you see anything in here, um, if you click on it, it's going to preview off to the right here. If you see something that you want to use, you're going to hit inactive, or you're going to click it to make it active. Now, one thing I'll do, just while we were here, I just activated those fonts, but it may look like nothing really moved right here. Just one thing that we'll point out to you is whenever you activate a font, it instantly jumps up here to the top of the list. So that's just a heads up, just in case you're sitting here thinking that, well, I know I've activated like the same font like 5 times. Just remember, they instantly shoot up here, and it can make it look like you didn't make that action, but you did. I just wanted to point that out to you. There are a lot of good fonts in here. If you're one to want to break them down to where use the type drop down, you can sort them between script, serif body, serif meaning it's got little ends, and that sans serif body fonts are just clean. They have straight edges in that. We have ornamental fonts if you need to put in some dingbats and stuff, or some symbols. And we got decorative. This would be decorative. A lot of these, we see a lot of these being used on a lot of fun or event pages. I know there is one in here that's kind of set up for Halloween and stuff like that. So that's coming around the corner. But definitely a good amount of fonts for you guys to use throughout your book. So there's a few samplings in the yearbook guide. But if you and your class, have some time as you're going through here, before you get going on the book, I'd definitely, take a little bit of time, click through here, see what fonts you might want to use, and add them to the book. Let's see. So we got done with fonts. One thing I am going to kind of skip over is styles, but basically real quick is what styles are these. Your program starts with five types of text boxes that we call styles. So whenever these styles or these text boxes drop onto a page, this is just what they're starting at. But you can make your own. So if you wanted to come through here and be like, well, I wanted all my headline fonts or my big to start at a certain size and that. But that's all what this is. You could add your styles. You can give it a name, my headline. You can choose, whatever one of the fonts that are there. So you want to make that really large. I hit save. So then you've got your own style on there. And like I said, this is just how that particular text box will start when we go to the page. More of these on styles. If you have signed up for the building activity pages webinar, we'll definitely get going more on using these when we get to that webinar. But I just wanted to touch on them real quick just because this is where we kind of set those up at. So down below, last two options here are photo share and ReplayIt. So what these are, and I'm going to go into ReplayIt first. ReplayIt is a private photo submission site that we've always had. It's a connected site to your Memory Book on Loan account, to where you would set up this site, and this is a great site to have parents and teachers and students contribute images, all the while not having access to the yearbook. So it keeps you and your team working on the book. And this is just a way for the community to contribute images to the project. Now with ReplayIt, this is a simple site, start date and end date, and you enable it. And then it gives you your site link here that you can pass out to members of the community to upload images. Now with ReplayIt here, this is the final year for ReplayIt. So if you're an advisor that has been with us for quite a few years, if you're familiar with ReplayIt, you want to use it one last time, you're able to set it up, and that way you get images coming in that way. What is replacing ReplayIt is photo share. And photo share is about the same thing. It's a little more updated to kind of work with more mobile sites in a way. Basically, it's giving a little more robust kind of version of ReplayIt. So when we come in here, this spot right here that's in the top, the school assets part, this is something that at this time that is still under development. So for the most time, there's any of this assets, so your school name, color, and logo will just need to be used as a generic site. But it's something that we're trying to work on for you guys, and probably hopefully upcoming version of the program, or at least later down the line. But skipping over that part, we're going to get down to our content and preferences. So when you first come in here, you'll actually toggle this on, and you'll set an end date. So it basically is toggled on that you have a site. You'll set an end date when you want your site to end. And photo guidelines, it does already come with some some standard guidelines, just some default wording that you have in here. You can put in your own information. So if you were coming in for a particular period of time, this is all good stuff. But if you were collecting for a particular event, say right now collecting first week of school photos, or fall photos, or first day of school photos, you could put that message in here, and that will be out there to the parents. So that's all we really have to do here. There is a second inbox that you can open up. So if you're collecting just portraits of certain students, maybe you're doing senior photos, maybe you're doing baby photos, then you might want to turn on this one as well. But a lot of times you'll work well with just this one inbox here. You'll set an end date to this as well, and allow a few if you want quotes, and allow other activities for these portraits. And the same kind of goes for the content here. For the most part, going through here, I'm going to turn that off. Most of what we've seen so far is just the school setting up just a basic site to collect whatever events are. But if you are one of those schools that maybe you're collecting senior or portraits, go ahead and toggle this one on, and that way you have those photos coming just to a separate little inbox there. Now, once you have all your information for your guidelines and your date set, you would then just come over here and hit Publish Changes. So this is going to save your site, and it's also going to publish your site. And then at that same time, you are then given a link right here that you can copy to your clipboard. You can put this link, it's much like the ReplayIt link. You can send this out in text or email. The one thing that or put it on a school website and newsletter. The only place that we really don't suggest putting this ReplayIt or the photo share link would be as on Facebook. And that's just because we've seen that Facebook changes that URL to where it makes the link invalid. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that. So this link could be put many places. Just avoid Facebook because that way it changes it, makes it invalid, and then at that point we've seen advisors get a lot of parent feedback on that. So just want to give you that heads up to avoid that, and that way to kind of lessen that feedback you may get from parents not able to connect and upload to it. You also have a QR code here. So if you wanted to make up your own flyer and get this QR code posted up, now we haven't really tested the QR code much on Facebook. So if you're willing to put that up on Facebook and test it, we'll see what we come of that. But right now, link, text, email, website, definitely QR code. You could definitely put that in an email or a newsletter, and definitely put that in a school newsletter, and that goes out home to parents, and that way you get community contributing images. All right, let's see. We got 340 running. Kind of last thing really I have to kind of go over is just what to do coming up. After you get your setup stuff, and that is where are we going next with this? So in the next installment, that'll be in a couple weeks from now, we are going to be talking about working with portraits and how to build class pages. So where I'm going to leave you off with for at the moment is definitely at this time, I know a lot of you are still school picture weeks are coming up. A lot of you don't have school photos in yet, but that is coming up for you. But just kind of what we will do and why it's beneficial to send your class photos in to us. A lot of those photographers have an index file that comes with your class photos. So definitely get that link to us, and we can upload. We have a tool here that uploads with that index file that brings the photos and the names that are tagged to those photos into the program at one time. So that way, and that saves you a lot of time, because if you were to upload photos if you were to upload your own class photos, you would have to upload the photos and then have to add the name to one by one. While this may be good for like certain small little private schools or something, if you have a big middle school, that is just a daunting task to do there. So definitely later, a lot of times, so picture days are coming up. So by the time you get that link in late October, November, December, definitely send that to your rep or contact how you get your class photos into us, and we will work on getting those uploaded for you. All right. I just want to get back to a couple questions. One person back when I was on the photos said, "Can you turn that portraits feeder on later if we need to collect?" Yes. Yeah. This just going back to this, yeah, you can set this top one up here and collect, but then later down the line, if you're like, I want to just collect some portraits, yeah, they're independent from each other, so you can come back later and toggle that on. Let's see. And then another good question back to this. On the photo share, is there a way for people to select an album to add, or is it up to the advisor to then manage the photos? It'll be up to the advisor to manage the photos. So I'm going to go under real quick and show you. I'm going to go into the image library here. So those images from PhotoShare will come into your PhotoShare inbox. Now, if you just have the one selected, they'll all go into School Life. And then it's moving those pictures to your folders. But a lot of this is, we're going to get going on more of this on the next one. But I just wanted to show you real quick. But yeah, they all go into one spot, and then you have to move them into a folder there. Okay, if a change is made to PhotoShare and it makes you republish, does the QR code stay the same after republishing? Yes, it does. That's a very good question. Because sometimes on certain sites, if a link changes, that does alter the QR code, or if you have to change a link. The good thing here is when you make changes, it update, it's the same QR code. So even if you publish, or let's say that you have to turn your site off for a bit, or let's say I've seen some advisors will have first day of school photos, they'll have it open for a couple weeks and then shut their site down and then proceed on and open it up for the next event. So that's a really good question. So yeah, that's definitely, if you make any changes to your dates and then save, this QR code right here does stay the same. So that's helpful. So you won't have to change your flyers or anything like that. All right. Pretty much as far as getting the basic setups going through. Now, next installment will leading to building class pages. I have a little bit of time here where I can unmute everybody, and if you want to unmute yourself and have any questions, but we can open this up to any kind of Q&A for the last little bit here. Okay, I do have one question that I saw in the chat. It said, is the advisor the only person who can manage the incoming photos? When it comes to the photos coming in from PhotoShare, yes. Yeah, only the advisor has access to these boxes right here. Now, once the advisor moves those photos to a folder under activity, then the staff, editor, everyone else will be able to look at them and reorganize them if needed.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Go for it. Yeah.
When those photos are uploaded, is there a way to tag the photos for certain things? So say it's for a specific teacher, for a specific classroom, is there a way to tag the photos in that way?
Yeah.
Or is it just kind of up to me to figure out?
No, there's tagging there. There's definitely a lot of tagging there when that comes in. Let's see if I can. All right, so I just kind of show you how that would look like there. So someone would come in and be like, I am a student, but I'm just going to put photographer here. Okay, but then it's going to do a little verify thing. So then it's going to send me a quick email here. All right, so then here's where those two different sections, like I have the portraits on too. So then they would then come in and I go, oh, okay, I see I've got here, closes here. I'm gonna hit share photos. It's gonna say all contents reviewed by the yearbook staff and the screenshots. Got it. Okay, so once we get to about here, so you can do fast tag. And that's good. When you do a fast tag, that fast tag does all the images that you have, but you can skip the fast tag and just do like each image at a time. So here's this image. I can then put in the name information, the grade. I can then add in so many more topics of who this is. Like third grade can. There's also topics that'll generate here. Oh, there's no results. Topics. Different things like that they could put in here and hit done, and that information will then come in with the photo. That should then allow you to help kind of sort it to your folders. But definitely, yeah, definitely tagging there. All right. Any other questions?
No, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. All right. Well, there you go. All right. Well, thank you again, everybody, for joining me today. Hopefully, by showing examples in the areas of login, welcome page, page ladder, fonts, and image or photo share, creating your book will be look like less of a challenge, and you can avoid some of those pitfalls that can come with any software. So definitely. Coming up, once you get those class photos, definitely make sure that you're sending those links in for us to get uploaded when you get those. So in the meantime, feel free, join us up in a couple of weeks, and as we get preparing for portraits and autoflow. But in that time, if you have any questions, need help prepping your book, please reach out to us. We can be reached at 1-877-302-3140 or memory book tech support at jostens.com. So appreciate you, everybody. You have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you later.